Peter Thiel knows about the Antichrist. Peter Thiel.
Principal these days. Power principal, may I shake your hand?
Exactly what branch of Christianity are you?
The kind that loves his country and doesn't tolerate any
South Park just dropped an episode so savage about modern Christianity that religious groups are literally losing their minds. The show's latest installment doesn't pull punches, it goes straight for the jugular of what American faith has morphed into.
You and a lot of other people seem to have a very warped sense of what Christianity is.
Are you questioning my faith?
And honestly, the backlash proves they hit the mark.
Beaties, man. My diabetes? Yeah, what's your A1C at? 6 point something! 600!
Religion's always been South Park's playground, but this time feels different. Season 28's opener, Twisted Christian, dissects how Christianity in America has warped from love thy neighbor into something Jesus himself wouldn't recognize. The episode centers on a fake meme, kids passing around 67 like it's satanic code, which sends the school's newly converted power Christian principal into full-blown apocalypse mode.
I've gotten a lot of reports of disruptions in the classroom and some satanic numerology shit going on.
Here's where it gets wild. PC principal, who spent years being politically correct, now weaponizes Christianity like a bludgeon. He's convinced the Antichrist is coming because students keep repeating this meaningless number. So he brings in a doomsday preacher who rants about Trump impregnating Satan. Yes, you read that right. The show literally depicts Satan's anatomy being too small for anything except Trump's biology to penetrate. That visual alone had audiences gagging.
Someone who is the highest authority on biblical prophecy.
Jesus?
This person is
No, it's gonna be someone else.
Yeah.
Somebody
And
else.
the coming of the Antichrist.
What?
Please welcome.
Oh my God. What?
Meanwhile, actual Jesus walks around the school trying to figure out why everyone's version of Christianity feels so hostile. He watches people convert not out of faith, but out of peer pressure and cultural warfare. Strong woman becomes strong Christian woman overnight after attending some mysterious conversion center. Everyone's suddenly religious, but nobody's acting Christ-like.
Of Satan that will soon walk the earth. We don't know how soon it will walk the earth, but it could be within the next 6 to 7 weeks.
The 67 subplot brilliantly satirizes moral panic. Adults see kids doing something they don't understand and immediately assume it's demonic possession. The preacher warns the Antichrist will arrive in 6 to 7 weeks. Cartman vomits for 6 or 7 nights. The doctor says without nutrients, bodies shut down after 6 to 7 weeks. Every mundane coincidence becomes apocalyptic prophecy when you're desperate to see evil everywhere.
The Bible refers to the eagle, which refers to America, the fourth seal broken and hell coming to earth. It's right here in Revelation 6.
South Park's always mocked religion, but this critique cuts deeper. They're not attacking faith itself. They're eviscerating how modern American Christianity has become a tribal identity marker rather than a spiritual practice. PC principal doesn't read the Bible. His wife listens to podcasts instead. That line alone encapsulates how theological understanding has been replaced by algorithmic rage farming. The episode introduces Peter Thiel as a tech billionaire biblical expert who demands access to everyone's personal data to track the Antichrist. He convinces the school to install cameras everywhere, including girls' bathrooms, all in the name of Christian surveillance. When PC principal's vice principal objects to this privacy violation, he gets fired on the spot. Dissent isn't tolerated in this twisted version of Christianity.
Well, do you have a minute? Sure, Jesus, what do you need? I'm starting to wonder if I really...
If you think this is just comedy, you're missing how prophetic it actually is. The show parallels real-world religious rhetoric that's abandoned compassion for culture war domination. Jesus, the actual character, keeps trying to remind everyone that Christianity means loving and respecting people, even those you disagree with. But he's treated like an outsider, a radical, for suggesting Christians should act Christian. The episode's most heartbreaking moment comes when Jesus finally snaps. After enduring constant bullying for not being Christian enough, PC Principal's friend challenges him to a fight. Jesus refuses because he's a pacifist, because violence contradicts everything he represents. But the mob beats him anyway. They literally kill Jesus for being too Christ-like. The symbolism isn't subtle, and it shouldn't be.
Look, Mr. President, I've seen the news. If you got Satan pregnant, that's your responsibility.
Well, it's your responsibility now.
Consider how Christianity's core message has been hijacked. Jesus preached feeding the poor, welcoming strangers, and turning the other cheek. Today's loudest Christian voices often oppose immigration/social programs and celebrate violence. The episode doesn't need to exaggerate. Reality's already absurd enough. When Jesus questions this hypocrisy, he's called gay, weak, and un-American. The show even tackles how religion gets weaponized against abortion rights. Trump, still pregnant with Satan's baby, tries visiting an abortion clinic for help, but Christian activists have shut most of them down. The doctor who agrees to help refuses to do house calls to the White House, insisting Trump take responsibility for carrying Satan's offspring. It's bonkers on the surface, but the underlying commentary about bodily autonomy and religious legislation couldn't be clearer.
From like 3 months ago.
Yeah, I've got faith, dude. What do you have, you little bitch? You want to throw down?
Father Maxey, South Park's traditionally decent priest, watches the chaos with resignation. He tells Jesus that Christianity doesn't mean what it used to mean anymore. That single line encapsulates decades of religious evolution, or devolution, depending on your perspective. The faith that once centered on sacrifice and service now centers on power and punishment. The genius of Twisted Christian lies in how it exposes Christianity's contradiction. PC Principal claims his faith makes him stronger, more American, more righteous, but every action contradicts Christian teaching. He bullies, surveils, and threatens anyone who questions him. He fires employees for protecting privacy. He beats Jesus for suggesting love matters more than dominance.
I think you still just don't understand what Christians today are about.
Oh my God.
Come on. There's someone I think
Christian today.
Who else now?
I think South Park is gambling that audiences will recognize themselves in this mirror. The episode suggests that modern power Christians are actually the Antichrist they fear. By abandoning Christ's teachings while wielding his name, they've become the very evil they claim to fight against. Peggy Rockbottom, Jesus' blind date, admits she hasn't actually read the Bible, but listens to lots of podcasts. This character represents how faith has been outsourced to influencers and algorithm-driven content. Nobody studies scripture anymore. They consume hot takes designed to trigger engagement. Theology becomes whatever confirms your existing biases.
The later seasons.
I was just thinking about your menstrual cycle.
My menstrual cycle?
What makes this episode dangerous to certain viewers isn't that it mocks Christianity. South Park's done that for decades. It's that this episode specifically targets how American Christianity has been corrupted. It doesn't let viewers laugh at some abstract religious institution. It forces them to confront how their own communities might weaponize faith. The surveillance state angle adds another layer. Thiel's character demands total access to private data under the guise of religious protection. It's a perfect allegory for how fear-based Christianity enables authoritarianism. Give up your privacy, your autonomy, your critical thinking, all to fight an imaginary threat that conveniently justifies existing power structures.
Same place that she
Oh my
became
God.
Christian.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Stick around because the implications get even darker. When Jesus tries dating within this new Christian culture, every woman has been converted at the same mysterious location as strong woman. There's an implication that this Christianity isn't organic. It's manufactured, processed, and distributed like a product. people aren't finding faith, they're being indoctrinated. South Park's always walked a tightrope between offense and insight. Twisted Christian might be their most surgical strike yet. They're not attacking believers who genuinely practice compassion and service. They're attacking hypocrites who use Jesus' name to justify cruelty, who wrap bigotry in scripture, who mistake political tribalism for spiritual devotion.
Just don't feel good about treating people this way. I think the most important thing still has to be loving and respecting each other.
All right, man, I need to ask you something, and I need you to tell me the truth. Are you a...
The most savage moment might be PC Principle, calling Jesus gay for advocating love and respect. It's played for laughs, but the underlying commentary is razor sharp. Compassion and empathy have become suspect values in this twisted Christianity, associated with weakness rather than strength. Masculinity requires dominance, and faith requires enemies. South Park positions Cartman, their most selfish, manipulative character, as the only hope against this false Christianity. That's not accidental. Sometimes it takes someone completely outside the system to expose its absurdity. Cartman doesn't pretend to be good or righteous. His honesty about his awfulness contrasts sharply with those claiming divine mandate for their cruelty.
But he's
pacifist.
What? What? No.
What?
No, it can't be.
No.
Uh-oh.
No. No. What is this?
What South Park nailed is how religion becomes performance. Nobody in this episode seems to have personal relationships with God or genuine spiritual experiences. They have talking points, podcasts, and tribal signifiers. Faith becomes a costume you wear to signal which team you're on, not a transformative force in your life. The apocalyptic obsession is another brilliant touch. Instead of preventing suffering or building a better world, these Christians eagerly anticipate destruction. They want the Antichrist to arrive so they can be vindicated. They're more invested in being right about the end times than in creating a present worth living.
Christianity, I love the message that this episode brought, that, you know, actual being Christian, it does mean loving and respecting your neighbor however bad they are. Like, you're supposed to love them, you're not supposed to fight them, like Jesus is pacifist. And him, the PC Principle, to say like...
The creators didn't make this episode to be mean or edgy. They made it because someone needed to say out loud what millions have been thinking. Something's gone horribly wrong with American Christianity. When the actual teachings of Christ are treated as radical leftist propaganda, when loving your neighbor is dismissed as weakness, when compassion is mocked as political correctness, the religion has eaten itself.
Just would have loved anyone be an immigrant if they were undocumented. He would feed the poor.
For your sins.
Like, so anyone who's Christian now uses it just for their own.
Yeah.
The episode ends with uncertainty, with Jesus dead and the Antichrist still supposedly coming. But the real Antichrist was there all along. It's the version of Christianity that abandons Christ's teachings while invoking his name. That's the truly brutal revelation South Park delivered. And based on the reactions online, they struck a nerve that desperately needed striking. Well, let's wait to see what the next episode of South Park brings us. Subscribe to our channel for more South Park breakdowns.